Now, in the Bible, we see 5 health habits, and we're going to look at them this weekend. 5 habits of healthy people. All 5 of these are found in the New Testament, the Old Testament hero named Daniel. Now, we call this book, or this program, the Daniel Plan. It's named after a man in the Bible named Daniel who modeled all 5 of these habits of healthy people. Let me tell you the story of Daniel. Several thousand years ago, King Nebuchadnezzar, who was the king of Babylon. Babylon is modern-day Iraq. So the king of Iraq went over to Israel and captured the entire country and took the entire nation of Israel over to Iraq and kept them in captivity for 70 years. It's called the Babylonian captivity. During those 70 years, King Nebuchadnezzar, the Babylonian king, said, look, since all these Jews are part of our empire now, we need to make some of them leaders. So he said, choose the best young men out there, the smartest, the most attractive, the brightest, the most talented, and I'm going to personally mentor them. One of those young men who was chosen was a Jewish young man named Daniel, and his 3 friends also got chosen, Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego. Now, one of the perks of being mentored by King Nebuchadnezzar is that you got to eat at the king's table, which meant you got to eat all of his dainties and pastries and rich cream sauces and all of the fine dining of the kingdom and all of the junk food that the king ate. Now, Daniel, being a righteous man, said, wait a minute, I'm Jewish, I'm kosher, I'm not gonna eat that junk, God's told me not to eat it. So he went to the king and he said, King, let's have a contest. You eat your junk food, and me and my friends, we're gonna eat God's food. We're gonna eat good food. We're gonna eat healthy, natural, whole, real food. And then we'll see at the end of the contest who's more attractive, who's got more energy, who's stronger, and who's healthier. At the end of the contest, it was no contest. And King Nebuchadnezzar said, you have to admit it. These guys look better, they're healthier, they're stronger. You guys win, we're gonna eat your way. And so we named it the Daniel Plan. Now, in the book of Daniel, we find these 5 habits of healthy people. And the first one we find in Daniel chapter 1, verse 15. It says this, when the time of the contest was up, Daniel and his 3 friends looked healthier and stronger than all those who had eaten the royal food. So here's the first habit, write it down. Healthy people eat healthy food. Duh. Healthy people eat healthy food. It's like the old computer saying, GIGO, G-I-G-O, garbage in, garbage out. You eat junk food, you're gonna live junk food. If you eat junk food, you're gonna look junky. Okay? And so he's saying, whatever you put in your body is what's gonna come out in your life and in your energy and in your face and everything else. Healthy people eat healthy food. Let me show you just one verse in the Bible about this, and there's so many. Here's just one. 1 Corinthians chapter 6, verse 13. I love this on the Message paraphrase. It says this. You know the old saying, first you eat to live and then you live to eat? Or in other words, food is for the stomach and stomach is for the food. That's an old pagan saying. He says, well, your body is only a temple, but there's no excuse. Notice, there's no excuse for either stuffing your body with food or indulging it with sexual immorality. Notice, in God's book, those are equal sins. He says, stuffing your body with food or sexual immorality, he says, they're the same in God's eyes. They're both an abuse of the body that God gave you. He said, since the Lord honored you with your body, now you honor him with your body. I want you to listen to a world's authority on this. Would you welcome Dr. Mark Hyman?
How y'all doing tonight? Great. I have a question for you. If Jesus came to dinner, what would you feed him? Have you thought about that? Would you give him a Big Mac, fries, and a Coke? Probably not. If God lives within you, why are you feeding him crap? Right? Think about it. We created the Daniel Plan to give you a goof-proof, step-by-step roadmap, which is the owner's manual for your body, your mind, and your soul. And it's very simple if you follow it. It's almost goofy how simple it is, right? You leave the food that man made. Leave the food that man made. If man made it, it's not good for you. And eat the food that God made. It's that simple. It's real, whole, fresh food. So the food that man made are factory-made science projects that are made by industrial corporations that are designed only to do one thing, which is to hook you, to addict you to hyper-palatable, hyper-addictive, hyper-processed foods that hijack your brain chemistry, your taste buds, and your metabolism. They're frankenfoods. Stay away from them because sugar is 8 times as addictive as cocaine. Rats will literally eat sugar until they die instead of actually taking care of themselves. If they have a choice between cocaine and sugar, they always go for the sugar. It's crazy. This is what you should be eating, real, whole, fresh food. This is what the Daniel Plan is based on. The Daniel Plan is not a diet. The Daniel Plan is a roadmap for having a whole, full, impactful life. For being able to wake up every day in the morning and do what God sent you here to do, which is to care for yourself, to love yourself, to care for those around you, to show up in the world and be of service, and to transform the world. That's why we're here. That's what this is about. This isn't a weight loss program. In fact, it was never designed for that. Now, there are some great side effects for the Daniel Plan. How many of you know what FLC syndrome is, and do you know if you have it? You know what that is, FLC? It stands for I feel like crap. Does anybody ever have that? You have that FLC syndrome from time to time? It's amazing to me how few people connect the dots between what they're eating, how they're living, and how they feel. And in such a short time, you can transform that. That's why we created the Daniel Plan, to invite you into a much better life, a life of health and well-being and love. This is I call the love diet. And when you do this program, when you engage with the Daniel Plan, you will get rid of a whole list of symptoms. Headaches, digestive issues, congestion, joint pain, fatigue, sleep problems, sexual dysfunction, acne, you name it. This goes away by using the science of creating health. Again, this is not a diet. This is based on the science of functional medicine that helps us create health. And I deal with all sorts of problems. I actually deal with people with a whole list of problems, and that's why I call myself a holistic doctor, right? I deal with a whole list of problems. Now, personally, I had FLC syndrome. I had chronic fatigue over 20 years ago and could barely walk up the stairs, could barely function, and I used food as my drug to heal me. There was no drug, there was no doctor that could help me. I went to doctor after doctor after doctor. And I realized that I had the medicine all the time, that it was what was at the end of my fork. What's at the end of your fork is more powerful than anything you'll ever find in a prescription bottle. It works faster, better, and cheaper. It has no side effects, and it's available to almost everyone on the planet. And it's real whole food. And the Daniel Plan is designed around this. And the food is not about giving up delicious, fabulous food. It's not about giving up flavor. It's about abundance, about delight, about deliciousness. I mean, the food is amazing. It doesn't have to be about deprivation. So what we're talking about is understanding how God's creation, which is the food that He created for us, is extraordinary. And it tastes great if you learn some simple techniques to make it. And it's really very simple. It's about getting rid of the bad and letting in the good. Letting go of the bad and letting in the good. And this is what Gail did. She lost over 40 pounds after doing this. She was 40 pounds overweight. She had all sorts of issues, sinus problems, headaches, joint pain, fatigue, irritable bowel, depression, you name it, she had it. And by doing the Daniel Plan, she got rid of all these things. She got more energy, weight loss, better sleep, better mood, and all these other problems go away as a side effect. We had people doing the Daniel Plan not as a design, but as a side effect, their asthma got better, their autoimmune diseases got better, their depression got better. One woman came up to me and says, you know, I've been out of mental hospitals my whole life. I've been on all sorts of drugs. I can't believe, is it possible that just after a week of doing the Daniel Plan that I could feel this much better? And the answer is yes, because what you eat and how you live plays a huge role in how you feel. This is Gail after she did her program, and she lost 40 pounds. All of her symptoms went away. Her headaches, her skin cleared up, her depression improved, her joint pain went away, her brain fog lifted. How many of you had brain fog? Any of you had brain fog? Oh, wow, got a lot of brain fog going on out there. Well, guess what? It can be a thing of the past like that. And what happened when we put people on the program, and the Daniel Plan has a quick kickstart program in it. It's called the Daniel Plan Detox. And we designed that to give people an immediate result, a quick start to success that will help them reduce not just their weight, but have all sorts of symptoms go away. We found 62% reduction in all symptoms from all diseases in just 10 days. There's no drug on the planet that can do that. It's extraordinary. So I would encourage you all to get the book, to start with the Daniel Plan Detox, and watch what happens to you in 10 days. It's radical health. And it's very simple. I'll give you 5 simple principles that we talk about in the book and that are at the foundation of the Daniel Plan. The first is get rid of, just for 10 days, flour and sugar and see what happens. The average American has 146 pounds of flour a year and 152 pounds of sugar. That is about a pound of flour and sugar for every man, woman, and child in America every single day. Now, I'm not having that much, so I bet some of you are having a lot more. Pretzels, bread, crackers, cake, cookies, even artificial sweeteners screw up your metabolism and lead to weight gain. Second is, if it has a label or it comes in a box, a package, a can, it's probably not good for you. If it has a health claim on the label, stay away. If it's processed, if it's made in a factory, don't eat it. If it's made in a plant, stay away. If it's grown on a plant, you can eat it. And there's 3 toxic ingredients that are really something you all should look out for and never, ever eat again. These are not foods that should be consumed by humans or any other living being. High fructose corn syrup, trans fats, and MSG, which is hidden in almost everything, and there's 50 different names for it. In fact, it causes binge eating, and when you have MSG hidden in food, it causes you to overeat. When they want to study obesity in mice, what they do is they give them MSG, and they actually start binge eating and gain huge amounts of weight. So these are 3 things you can easily remove from your diet very quickly. The third is take a break from gluten and dairy, which are foods that are, for many people, very inflammatory. Not forever, just 10 days while you do the Daniel Plan Detox. And what you'll find is it may be contributing to your headaches or your digestive issues or your joint pain or your fatigue or depression. And when you get rid of it, you'll see how you really feel. And step 4 is remember 3 words: whole, real, fresh. If it's grown on a farm, great. If it comes from a farmer's field, great. If it comes from a food chemist lab, you probably shouldn't eat it. It should have a very short distance from the field to the fork, right? It's food. And food contains information. It's like code that programs your genes with every single bite. You literally control your genes with what you eat. You turn on or off genes that create health or disease. So if you want to fit into your genes, you have to fit into your genes. Right? If you want to fit in those designer genes, you have to eat the way you were designed. It's that simple. And other components that we don't even know about, most of us, are in food that are actually medicine: phytonutrients, antioxidants, things that literally regulate our biology with every single bite. The next step is eat protein and fat at every meal, because these help regulate your blood sugar, keep you stopping the cravings that are driving us to eat the wrong foods, and help our bodies heal. It's fish, chicken, eggs, nuts, seeds, sustainably raised meat, seeds, tofu, tempeh. If you were at the Daniel Plan rally, you saw there was tempeh, which is a fabulous source of protein. Fat is not a 4-letter word. Fat does not make you fat. In fact, fat helps you curb your appetite and help your metabolism work better. Good fats are olive oil and coconut butter and avocados and nuts and seeds. These are the fats that help your body work better. Dr. Daniel Amen talks about how your brain is 60% fat, that we're all fatheads. Well, we are, but we need the right fat. And the fat from coconut butter and fish oil, these are the fats that help heal your brain. So last thing I want to leave you with is a simple idea. What is the smallest unit of health that we know of? Smallest unit of health is the community. That's what we found in the Daniel Plan, that people do better together, that health results from the habits and the things that are happening around you and the environment you're in. So your community is really determining your health. So when you're at Saddleback now and there's different foods on campus and there's activities and there's all sorts of things, your collective health is changing almost automatically. You're more likely to be overweight if your friend's friend is overweight than if your parents are overweight. And the opposite is true. When people go out to dinner with me, they totally change their eating habits because they know I'm watching. And that happens with your friends too. So, in fact, they did a study with rats where they put rats in a cage together as opposed to alone. In 1 month, they lost half of their belly fat simply by being together. So go join a small group right now if you want to lose that belly fat. Very simple. And we have to do this together. This is about transforming the world. It's about healing the world. It's also about healing ourselves, but it's also about being able to be in the world with the love that we all want to be with the love that we want to have for each other. Pastor Rick, when we were talking to Barbara Walters and Jenny McCarthy on TV, they said, what really are you here to do, Rick? What is your mission now? What is your purpose? And he said, it really comes down to two things, being able to love yourself and love others. And that is really what this is all about. So this is the love diet. So let's join together and take back our health and start a love revolution. Thank you.
Great.